put bricks on the bitch, 30 Zans off a tits. I put Molly on the bitch, I put Molly on the bitch. I put bricks on the bitch, 30 Zans off a tits. I put Molly on the bitch, I put Molly on the bitch.
Again, I'll be looking at nearly every trade, but I probably won't look into the little ones involving players who barely get any court time because they're kind of irrelevant. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content. But with that being said, let's get right into these winners and losers. Winners, Dallas Mavericks. This one is fairly obvious. As we all know, the Dallas Mavericks made a huge trade with the New York Knicks the other day, trading away Dennis Smith Jr., Wesley Matthews and DeAndre Jordan for Kristaps Porzingis, Tim Hardaway Jr. and more to go with that. I won't go in too much depth right now as I just made a video on this whole scenario, but I will give you reasons why the Mavericks won. First of all, the duo of Doncic and Porzingis is shaping up to be a great one, and though we don't know how Kristaps will return, I assure you the two young Euros will dominate together. The Mavericks are trying to win right now, and though the playoff seems a little out of reach this season, I feel like it's easily within grasp next season, and for many to come, because this young team is looking like a future dynasty. This wasn't the only trade made by the Mavericks, however. They also moved Harrison Barnes for Justin Jackson and Zach Randolph, which I personally believe is a great move. Jackson gets the team younger and he's a solid youngster, and Randolph will be a great mentoring veteran. Though I think it's a bit messed up that they made this trade during a game, it's still a good trade, and that's why the Mavericks are the first winners on this list. The New York Knicks. This may sound confusing, but I do think that the Knicks made a really smart move trading Porzingis this season, and for me, it makes them winners on this list. The Knicks are a big landing spot for any NBA player, and trading away Porzingis gives the Knicks plenty of cap space, enough for 2 max contracts. Then in the upcoming free agency, the Knicks can either sign 2 stars like KD or Kyrie or Kawhi for an example, to go along with a top 3 draft pick player. Even though it's likely they'll only sign 1 major free agent, this would still be a huge W in my books, so that's why they are here right now. The Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers lucked out massively this trade season. They traded some average role players and some draft picks for Tobias Harris, borderline all-star. Personally, my biggest snub for the all-star game, as well as Boban Marjanovic, who's having a career year, and Mike Scott too. These are fantastic players, especially Tobias Harris, who's having his best season ever. This creates a big four for the 76ers, involving Simmons, Butler, Embiid, and of course Tobias. This team to me can easily make the Eastern Conference Finals, and could even upset their way to the finals and perhaps win the finals. This move just makes the 76ers insanely better in my eyes, so this is why they're on this side of the table. Also, if they can re-sign Harris and Butler in the offseason, that is absolutely going to be massive. Another move that the 76ers made was trading Markelle Fultz to the Orlando Magic. This was a good move overall, as they got rid of the potential bust who wasn't really working out for them at all, but it's also good for Fultz as he can get a good opportunity for playing time in Orlando. Milwaukee Bucks and Detroit Pistons. A minor trade that went down was between the Bucks and Pistons, where the Bucks traded Thon Maker for Stanley Johnson. This is a win-win trade in my opinion. Thon Maker clearly wasn't working out in Milwaukee, and he will be able to gain playing time in Detroit. Stanley Johnson is a good pickup for the Bucks. He's a solid role player, and it'd be good for him to help contribute to a contending team. Again, a win-win trade in my opinion. The Washington Wizards. The Wizards made 2 trades this season at the deadline. The first one was Otto Porter to the Bulls, for which they got Jabari Parker and Bobby Portis in return. Otto Porter took up a lot of cap space, and Jabari Parker can hopefully get some playing time on the Wizards, and who knows, maybe he'll find himself in the meantime and become the player we all expected him to be. Also, the trade of Markieff Morris was a good trade too, in my opinion. Overall, a decent job done for the Wizards, nothing too special, but good moves nonetheless. The Sacramento Kings. The Kings have finally fully committed to becoming playoff contenders instead of a rebuilding team, and it's clear to see this after the Harrison Barnes trade, which I mentioned earlier. Harrison Barnes is a great pickup for this team, and he'd become a key piece to this team's starting lineup. Alongside the young talent of De'Aaron Fox and other pieces, the 9th seed Kings are looking to make a run at the playoffs, and this trade just might allow them to get over the line. The Toronto Raptors. With around 1 hour left at the trade deadline, the Toronto Raptors made a bold trade and got rid of Jonas Valanciunas, Delon Wright and Miles for Marc Gasol, as well as giving Memphis a second-round pick. Personally, I think this was a great move, but unfortunately this was probably the biggest trade to happen on trade deadline night. I think Gasol is a big upgrade over JV, who the Raptors weren't utilizing too well, and with him on the team, it will help them achieve their push towards the NBA Finals. The lineup of Kawhi, Lowry, Siakam and Gasol is going to be a very, very scary one. But that will wrap up the winners of this 2019 NBA trade deadline. But who are the losers? Losers, New Orleans Pelicans. One of the biggest losers of today has to be the New Orleans Pelicans. After getting us NBA fans hyped with all these trade rumors, they didn't even trade Anthony Davis when the Dame came around, and it was very disappointing. I get that they were trying to get as much from the Lakers as possible, but in the end, there was nothing else the Lakers could offer, and personally, I would take that trade of Lonzo, Ingram and Kuzma every day of the week if I'm trying to rebuild my team. And along with those first rounders too, I'm not sure why the Pels kept asking for more. It seemed like a perfect trade to get them into rebuilding mode. If the trade went down, you could even argue the Lakers gave up too much, because losing Kuzma to some wasn't good. But in the end, the Pelicans didn't trade Davis, and they're stuck in this bad situation for the rest of the season. I think it's pretty obvious they'll be going after Jason Tatum in the off-season, but I think the Pelicans have wasted a perfect opportunity here. And if the reports are true that the Pelicans were just trying to sabotage the Lakers' chemistry with these rumors, then that for me is the biggest L any team can get. That's just messed up. The Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are on this part of the list for one simple reason. They couldn't get Anthony Davis. This was a perfect chance for the Lakers to get that second star that could make them perennial final contenders, but after all the hype, rumors and reports, nothing went through. Now, because of this, other teams like the Celtics and Knicks are in the hunt for Davis and could potentially have a higher chance of trading for him instead of the Lakers. The Lakers' young core will feel miserable after all these rumors, and there's a high chance that the chemistry might be really low and could cost the Lakers a playoff spot. Today was just not their day and may have cost the Lakers a lot long term. LA Clippers. Now, I may get a bit of backlash for this, but I think trading Tobias Harris may have been a poor move on the Clippers' behalf. Yes, they got some picks, yes, they have cap space now for the off-season, but I just think that the trade was a little bit too risky. Tobias Harris was pretty much the heart and soul of this team, and I just don't think they got enough back for the borderline all-star, so that's why they are losers on this list. The Chicago Bulls. The Bulls made a couple of moves this deadline. I think it was smart to move Jabari Parker, but getting Otto Porter's contract is a big L. Hopefully they can get a top pick in the draft, otherwise this move may not be worth it in the long run. Memphis Grizzlies. And the final loser on this list are the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they made a good move by trading Gasol to the Raptors, and hopefully Jonas Valanciunas will be utilized well on his new team, as I feel like he was underplayed on the Raptors. But the big loss here is the fact they couldn't move Mike Conley, and for this reason I'm giving them an L. They had plenty of interest, and the fact they couldn't move him was very disappointing. But that will conclude the losers and the video. To be completely honest, it was a pretty underwhelming trade deadline, but some pretty big trades did go down. Let me know what you think of this below, and if you agree with my winners and my losers, and if you think any should switch, stay the same, or if I missed any teams in there. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.